and I did want to actually bring up a cultural thing just to sort of end this episode on, I think, a very hopeful note. At least that's what I'm hoping it will do. So, Zora, recently you were talking about your travels, which I'd love to have you talk about here in a moment. But I wanted to share something that I shared recently with my doula scholars. So I teach women to become menopause doulas, and I just taught them a whole lecture on the spiritual health of a woman in menopause, which I think is a really, or even the spiritual transition, the spiritual threshold. You can call it a bunch of different ways, right? This is one of the things that we have missed terribly. Okay, I want to read just a little bit that I shared with them, and then I'd love to have a discussion about it. So, across history and across the globe, most cultures have understood this transition, that is the transition of menopause, as a promotion, an elevation into wisdom, authority, and spiritual power. Offering these counter narratives to each other is one of the most potent permission slips that a doula or any of us can give each other. So let me give you some examples. In Japan, menopause is referred to as konenki, a word meaning renewal, season, and energy. Age is honored. Older women are revered for their wisdom and calm. When a woman's primary cultural framework for this transition is renewal of energy, her nervous system enters it differently. In traditional Chinese medicine, menopause is called the second spring, a time of renewal and transformation. This represents a shift from fertility and reproduction into conserving and nourishing the self. In Chinese culture, there's a sense of looking forward to old age. Aging is widely celebrated and elders are revered. Among many indigenous American tribes, menopause is seen as a powerful spiritual transformation, often referred to as the wise woman phase. Women who reach menopause are honored as leaders and teachers within their communities. In some shamanic traditions, including the Mayan and Cree communities, a woman must enter menopause to access her full shamanic and healing powers. Menstrual blood understood as power directed outward towards creation. At menopause, that power is retained inward as wise blood.
Shivers.
Yeah, good. And a woman crosses this threshold into becoming a healer and a spiritual healer of her community. These cultures built their social architecture around the understanding that older women carry irreplaceable knowledge. Let me go on. The Celtic tradition. The crone is one face of the triple goddess, a framework deeply woven into the pre Christian Celtic world, where which organized feminine experience into three sacred phases: maiden, mother, crone. In Celtic communities, the crone figure was frequently called upon for her healing abilities and her wisdom in herbal lore. Her deep understanding of nature made her an essential figure in community life, a wise woman, a healer, and a guardian of ancient knowledge. And finally, the Norse tradition, which my husband, who is definitely a Viking, loves this one the most. He says, anyways, Viking tradition. The most powerful person in the room was an older woman. In Viking society, the vulva, a woman, female, shaman, and seeress, was both feared and respected. She practiced Norse magic and was believed to have direct access to the gods and fabric of fate itself. Even Odin, the Allfather, the god of wisdom, must come to a vulva to learn what he cannot know on his own. Her wisdom comes not from books or teachings, but from experience, memory, and connection to unseen forces. Odin does not command her, he questions her, urges her, and offers her gifts and honor. Now, what I go on to say to wrap this up is these cultures built their social architecture around a shared understanding. Older women hold something that cannot be replaced, and the community depends on their willingness to step into it. The Western narrative of decline is not a universal truth. It's a recent cultural aberration, and one that many of our clients will have internalized far more deeply than we realize. Let's
Beautiful.
discuss.
Well, I've been like super onto this last week, so I'm not surprised you're bringing this up because I was just watching a bit of the movie The Shift. Have you guys watched that with Wayne Dyer?
Yes, but
Mm-mm.
a long time ago. Yes.
I reference it all the time because I love it so much. And my girlfriend was turning 40 on Monday. And she said, she said, I'm so depressed about it. She said, I'm not excited about turning 40 at all. And I'm like, wait just a minute. And I'm like, and I just laid into her. I'm like, look, these can be the best years of your life. Like, this is when we shift into our, like, who we really are and we like honor ourselves. And it's all about us for the first time. And, you've taken care of your kids and your husband and your whole, adult life. It's now about you. I'm like, your 40s can be the most amazing years ever. You just have to make sure your hormones are optimized.
Yes.
And I said, go watch The Shift. And so I was getting her the link. And so I started watching it. And throughout there, he talks about these major shifts that happen in life. And this is one of them. And when we're younger, it's all about family and taking care of others. But when this happens, it's about taking care of ourselves. The wise
Absolutely.
woman years. Yeah.
Absolutely.